So it's been a little while since we've had a talk without it being accompanied by a reading, and so I thought today is an excellent day to have a chat about something that I think I and many others, and potentially you as well, probably need to have. So at risk of sounding like one of those people, if this video found you, stick with it. You might want to hear this. Gentleness is a favorite of predators and people who indulge themselves in predatory behavior. In short, predators love chasing after beings that are just minding their own fucking business and taking care of themselves and not being problematic. Plenty of people have already done the legwork of trying to explain to the simpletons of the world that human beings and animals are not the same, therefore human beings shouldn't be taking on the archetype of predator and prey. I'm not going to go into that because it's already out there. The research, the language, all of it's already done. I don't like spoon feeding people simple shit like that that's easily accessible. But what I will do is I will have a conversation with people who are feeling particularly set apart as prey in our society, and just have a chat with those people, because I think that the alphas and the predators have had long enough on the mic, and it's time for the gentle creatures to start actually having a conversation with the world about truly how fucked up and wrong and out of balance everything is. The truth is, no matter where you look, you will find the criticism of those who have repeatedly been glorified by those who are just absolutely in need of a rewrite of their own history. Those who have historically and generationally followed the Arianisms and the pharaohs of the world, those who believe that hierarchical divinity and subjugation of those who they deem inhuman has long been debunked, and yet we are still here trying to repeat ourselves as though people don't understand, when in reality they do understand. It's just easier to yell louder and louder than it is to change and develop better. You know, ignorance is bliss and all that. See, this has always been talked about as though we are fighting something. It's a fight for rights, a right to exist. And that's a fair assessment. I think I would like to take it a step further and say it's a fight to restore the natural order of things. And the natural order of things is that there is no order, there is only nature. There is movement, there are seasons, there is change, there are fixed objects and there are moving objects. There are trees and there are birds. I've never known a tree to be jealous of a bird simply because the bird has wings and can fly. I have also never known a bird to be jealous of a tree simply because the tree is rooted and can stay steady in a storm, and a bird needs shelter and refuge. Maybe they do have beef, but neither the tree nor the bird has shared any of that with me. What I have seen, and what I have seen that seems to me the most beautiful, is that nature is just naturing. It doesn't really have an issue with things like migration. Nature doesn't seem to have an inherent bias against storms. Nature doesn't seem to have or take issue with flamboyance in any way. Neither does it seem to have an issue with things that are more calm to the eye and to the senses. I have seen nature in its purest form look a lot like collaboration and care and co-creation and cohabitation. Yes, there are lions, there are tigers, there are bears, there are birds of prey, They exist and they do exactly what it sounds like. They prey, they coerce, they come and they destroy. They often kill infants. That's what they do. That is a predator. That's exactly what they do, and that exists in nature, absolutely. The interesting thing, though, is that I've never actually seen a predator in nature seek to genocide any of the groups that they are preying against. Have you? And yet, human beings will tell you from as early as you can retain information that the natural order of humanity is that, yes, it's totally normal for one group of humans to feel entitled to wipe out another group of humans. And there's so much validity and legitimacy in these conversations about harming other humans to that extent that I've just never quite understood, and thankfully never will. See, in nature and in human nature, all of the predator communities have something pretty interesting in common, and that is that somewhere in the infrastructure of a predator society, there is always a system that attacks the weakest link. And it starts in-house. Check out a documentary on a lion pride and you will see that if a lion comes in and takes over a pride, the first thing he does is he eats all of the young from the previous head of the family. In some documentaries I've seen rhinos violently trying to torture and SA the young female rhinos. I have seen snakes eat other smaller snakes, and all of these predatory behaviors, birds of prey snatching babies out of the nests of the prey bird species, things of that nature, where they attack the gentlest form within themselves and in their own community before subjugating others. And while the animal kingdom has their shit, and that's what they be doing, and that's the way that they go about things and all of that, and I honor that, whatever that is, because I'm not a lion, I'm not a rhino, I'm also not an actual rabbit. I do take issue with humans and human nature and the fact that we have strayed so far from the nature of humanity. Humans have the uncanny ability of very sophisticated forms of communication. We have made everything around us either a ritual or a deep-seated meaning that is either to seek collaboration or destruction. We will take holy books and either preach peace and harmony or crusade the fuck out of each other. The most notable difference between predators of the animal kingdom and predators of the human kingdom are that the animal kingdom seems to be subjected to that order of things. Humans, on the other hand, they are well aware of the choices that they make and stand on all 10 of their toes to continue to make those choices. Humans don't choose to be predators because it's in their nature. Predators choose to be predators because they believe it's in other people's natures to subjugate themselves for them. I am willing to bet that if we were to take a peek at the generational trauma of those that are incredibly predatory in the human kingdom, you will find that systemically gentleness was infrastructurally abandoned and or ripped away in order for a certain power dynamic to be maintained for whatever reason. Once upon a time, the part of me that is incredibly empathetic sought to use myself as a beacon of hope for those who felt trapped by their incredibly cold and sinister environment, by introducing them to my very warm and vibrant environment. And now that I'm older and have done ancestor work, I have learned that many people, many prey types, have welcomed predators into their homes and into their lives, hoping that they could be changed by the power of love and friendship and acceptance. My ancestors, the Taino, and many other Caribbean and BIPOC groups had made this mistake, and that is why Christopher Columbus is known to have written in many journals about how the Taino people are gentle and beautiful and kind and caring, loving, patient, no, not evil, and easy to take advantage of as a result. For me, I think the thing that was really hard was that it felt like everywhere that I looked for guidance from my ancestors, from my family, from others like me, and even from the very mouths of those that sought to subjugate me, I was looking for a way to find peace, and it didn't feel like I could find any that was in alignment with my authentic self and who I felt led to be, what I felt naturally to be. So from one gentle creature to another gentle creature who has done the spiritual work, who has done the ancestor work, who has done the therapy work and the mental health work, I need you to hear me when I say this and really fucking lock it in. Integrating with a predator in any way will not save you. The suggestions of integration with a predator are not suggestions that come from people who inherently have a gentle person's best interest in mind. It comes from co-conspirators of predators that are just trying to help move along whatever movement they are a part of in order to get what they want out of that movement. Now, I know you're an empath, and I know that you can see that the common enemy of all humans is some form of shame. I know that you know that these people who are causing harm are internally deeply hurt themselves. Yes, you get to be empathetic about that. That empathy stays right here where it belongs and should never leave the heart space into an action space to try to help rehabilitate in any way. Trying to rehabilitate a hurt person through self-sacrifice is just a tactic that predators use to make you self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice is not a real form of care. It is a real form of death. What I've been learning over the past few months as I embark in the heaviest part of my healing journey is that just because gentleness still runs in my veins doesn't mean that everyone is entitled to that gentleness. Everyone is not entitled to access my gentleness and my gentle nature. Even deeper than that, my gentle nature is not to be subjugated and used at another's leisure and at another's discretion. What predators hate is when those they deem as prey realize that it's a lie and act accordingly. Predators love when we're afraid. Predators love when we're tired. Predators love when we give up. Predators love when we just hand ourselves over. So because I don't subscribe to being prey to a predator, I have chosen to stop calling myself prey altogether and start calling myself natural. Calling myself all of the things that are natural about me. Identifying with the naturalness that has always occurred in my very being. And interestingly enough, all of those things are incredibly gentle. In my gentleness, I have faced my fears. I have legitimized myself and my soul. I have connected to forces that are incredibly powerful, and I have called my power back to me and reclaimed myself as an entity that belongs to myself exclusively. And anything that I give to the world and to the external forces, it's a choice, not a coerced choice, but a conscious choice. And I found out that that's like its own form of fighting, which like is so low energy compared to what I thought fighting to live would look like for me. And so, from one gentle creature to another, I want to challenge you to do as many gentle acts for yourself as you possibly can. I want to challenge you to take yourself back in and be the version of you, for you, genuinely, that predators would never want to see you be. And I want you to do it because it would piss them off.